Imagine a vast expanse of water. It was once a shimmering jewel, reflecting the endless sky. Now picture it as a murky, lifeless soup. This was the grim reality for a significant lake in China, a body of water that had turned into a sorrowful symbol. It was a stark testament to years of neglect. Its once clear waters whispered only tales of decay. Few observers, if any, truly believed it could ever be saved. This lake, let us call it Dragon's Mirror for our tale, was not always so. It had a history steeped in beauty and vitality. It was a critical source of life and livelihood for millions. Generations of fishermen had cast their nets into its abundant waters. Children once laughed and played along its vibrant, thriving shores. Its complex ecosystem flourished, a delicate and intricate dance of nature. Countless species of flora and fauna called this vast lake their home, but this natural paradise was fading, and fading fast. The descent into its polluted state was insidious. It began slowly, almost imperceptibly, then accelerated with alarming speed. Unseen poisons, a cocktail of contaminants, seeped into its veins. Agricultural runoff carried pesticides and fertilizers from surrounding farms. The once vibrant colors of the lake began to dull and fade. The pollution was not merely an aesthetic problem. It was a profound crisis with far-reaching consequences. The delicate balance of the lake's ecosystem unraveled. Fish, the lifeblood for many, gasped for oxygen in the depleted waters. Their numbers plummeted, leading to empty nets and emptier stomachs. Aquatic plants crucial for water clarity and habitat withered and died. The vibrant underwater forests became barren wastelands. Bird life, once abundant, found their food sources gone. Their songs grew fainter around the lake's perimeter. Human health too paid a heavy price. The contaminated water was a direct threat. Skin ailments became common among those who came into contact with it. Worse still, the water, once a source of drinking for nearby communities, became unusable. Access to clean, safe water grew increasingly difficult and expensive. This placed an immense burden on vulnerable populations. The pollution seeped into the food chain as toxins accumulated in the few remaining fish. People unknowingly consumed these poisons. The long-term health impacts were a silent, growing fear. The economic devastation was equally stark. Fishing communities collapsed. Tourism, once a burgeoning industry drawn by the lake's beauty, evaporated. Property values along the shoreline plummeted. The cost of inaction was mounting daily. Businesses that relied on clean water struggled to survive. The sheer scale of the problem was staggering. We are talking about mountains of waste, not just any waste, but a complex choking mixture. Imagine, if you will, 40,000 tons of refuse. This figure, a stark headline from one such monumental cleanup, paints a vivid picture. It represents a colossal amount of human debris. This wasn't just surface litter easily skimmed away, it was years, decades even, of accumulated neglect. Agricultural straw, kitchen scraps, livestock manure, and the ever-present insidious threat of plastics and microplastics. Consider the sources of this deluge. China, a rapidly developing nation, produces vast quantities of organic waste. Around 800 million tons of agricultural straw each year, approximately 145 million tons of kitchen waste annually. These are not small numbers. In the region around a major water body like Taihu Lake, for instance, kitchen waste alone was projected to reach over 3.5 million tons by 2030 in just 3 cities. This organic matter, if not managed properly, finds its way into waterways. It fuels algal blooms and depletes oxygen. It smothers life. Then there are the plastics. Microplastics, tiny fragments less than 5 millimeters long, are now ubiquitous. They are found from the Arctic to the Antarctic, from Mount Everest's peak to the depths of our oceans. Faced with such a dire situation, the response had to be bold. China embarked on a series of massive cleanup operations. These were not minor undertakings, they were logistical challenges of an immense scale. The removal of 40,000 tons of waste from a single lake system is a testament to this commitment. This was more than just a token gesture, it was a declaration of intent. The sheer manpower and resources mobilized were extraordinary. Imagine the scene. Fleets of specialized barges moved across the water, excavators with long arms reached into the murky depths. They dredged up layers of sludge and debris. Teams of workers, often clad in protective gear, toiled tirelessly. They manually removed rubbish from shorelines and shallow areas. The scale of the operation required meticulous planning. Coordination between different government departments and local communities was key. This was environmental restoration on an almost warlike footing. The effort was not confined to just one location. Across the country, similar battles were being waged. Lakes and rivers, long neglected, were receiving urgent attention. This represented a significant shift in policy and priorities. Beyond brute force, innovative strategies at play. Simply dredging up waste is only part of the solution. What do you do with it then? This is where innovation became critical. Researchers and engineers began to develop novel strategies. One such approach, studied for the heavily polluted Taihu Lake region, focused on organic waste. It was called synergistic coupled aerobic fermentation, a rather technical term, I grant you. But the concept was revolutionary. It aimed to turn a problem into a resource, a way to create value from the very materials choking the lake. This innovative fermentation process was not just a laboratory experiment, it was designed for real-world application. It involved carefully combining different types of organic waste. Things like agricultural straw, kitchen scraps, and even cyanobacteria mud skimmed from the lake. By creating optimal conditions for aerobic bacteria, the waste could be broken down efficiently. This process was far more effective than traditional composting. It was faster, more thorough, and produced valuable byproducts. It was a clever way to close the loop. The key was synergy. Different waste streams, when processed together, yielded better results than if treated separately. The unveiling a transformation beyond belief. The efforts were monumental, the strategies innovative. But what were the results? When the dust settled and the waters began to clear, the transformation was astonishing. The removal of those tens of thousands of tons of waste had a visible impact. Shorelines, once choked with plastic and debris, began to reappear. The foul odors started to dissipate. Sunlight could penetrate deeper into the water column. It was as if the lake could finally breathe again. A collective sigh of relief. The initial changes were subtle, then grew more pronounced. Water clarity improved, slowly but surely. Native aquatic plants, long suppressed by pollution, began to show tentative signs of recovery. Small fish, pioneers in this newly cleansed environment, were spotted in areas where they had been absent for years. It was a fragile rebirth, but a rebirth nonetheless. The local communities watched with a mixture of hope and cautious optimism. Could their lake truly be coming back to life? It seemed almost too good to be true. The sheer scale of the cleanup was one thing. Scientific shockwaves rewriting ecological expectations. When scientists rigorously assessed the outcomes, the results were shocking. The data from projects like Taihu Lake painted an extraordinary picture. Significant improvements in water quality were documented. Biodiversity began to rebound with surprising vigor. The economic benefits were staggering. Cleaning up a lake became a sound investment. The climate implications were equally astounding. This strategy could offset 0.82% of China's CO2 emissions. Echoes across the globe. Lessons from the Reborn Lake. The transformation of China's polluted lakes is not just a local success story, it carries profound global significance. It serves as a powerful testament to what is achievable. When human ingenuity, political will, and sufficient resources are mobilized, even severely degraded ecosystems can be revived. This offers a vital message of hope to a world struggling with widespread water pollution, but they are not insurmountable. This success provides a potential blueprint for other regions. The combination of mass cleanup efforts with innovative waste valorization strategies is particularly compelling. The lessons learned in China about the importance of integrated planning, technological innovation, and sustained investment are transferable. Of course, each ecosystem is unique, but the core principles of tackling pollution at its source, removing existing contaminants, and fostering ecological recovery hold true universally. A call to the world. Our shared responsibility for clean waters. The revival of lakes like Dragon's Mirror is an environmental victory. It reminds us of our connection to nature, and our capacity to harm or heal it. Imagine what we could achieve collectively. The urgency for action has never been greater. Time is not on our side, we need systemic change. This means robust environmental policies and global agreements to curb waste. Investment in sustainable infrastructure, a circular economy approach. The era of treating our lakes as sinks must end. This responsibility is shared, Corporations must play their part, embrace sustainable production practices, research institutions must innovate, and as individuals we too have a role. Together we can protect our waters.